Hey, my fellow Riz Elite members. Welcome to 2021. This is Chris with Riz International, and this is your weekly market recap. Actually, we have a couple weeks to talk about here, so we'll go ahead and touch base on that since we haven't talked since before the holidays. So it's been a hot minute, as they would say. I think that's what the kids say nowadays. And it's great to be back. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas break, even though the markets were open somewhat. And obviously, we've been placing trades and things of that nature. And so what's been going on with the S&P 500? Well, it doesn't seem like there's much that can stop the S&P 500 at this point. We drew this line before Christmas, and the market has been respecting it pretty closely. All things considered, I did extend it out here so we could see that longer term, if it continues to follow this uptrend. But right now, I mean, the market solidly in an uptrend. I will say there was a bit of hesitation on Friday. There was some down, there was an up, there was a lot of bouncing. But I would say overall, the direction of the market for, the past 2-3 weeks or so has been nothing but up. I mean, December was basically all up for the most part. Of course, there were days where it went down and then we rebounded and down, we rebounded, but we're making higher lows, which means we're in a very, very solid uptrend at this point. So yeah, I mean, the market just can't be stopped right now. It is just going, and you're seeing that with a lot of our positions. You'll see Riz, taking profits and things like that. A lot of our long positions are going very, very well at this point. And hopefully, if you've been participating in those trades, that you have been profiting on that as well. Let's go ahead back here and look at the breakdown. Now, I usually do year to date, but that's all of about, 1 week of trading, maybe a little more. A week and a half, we'll say, of trading. So the data is not all that interesting when you only have that short period of time, though I will show it to you here before we finish. But just kind of want to take a look here at 2020 in review. Basically, and see where, we ended up at the end of the year. So here we go, December 31st. There it is. So the market ended just about up 16% on the year, the S&P 500, or the SPY ETF in this case. Tech, of course, the big winner. It was the huge winner of the year. Up almost 40 some percent here. Just nuts. Over 40%. Healthcare also pushing up nice and hard, despite everything going on with coronavirus, up about 10-ish% on the year. And everything else was under the zero line, guys. Everything else underprepared. So it really shows you how, heavy tech is right now and pushing the market towards the upside, because everything else was lower than it. All of the other market sectors, healthcare, financials, utilities, real estate, energy, all of it was underperforming the S&P 500. And the only thing that was outperforming the S&P 500 was tech. And I said this, I was saying it back in here with this huge ramp up in tech, that if tech takes a dip, the market will go with it. That's exactly what happened here when we see this dip down here. So I just want you guys to kind of see how much right now the market is pushing on tech, and tech stocks are just going crazy right now. It's pretty nutty with some of these, and we can probably touch on a few of them tonight before we close the webinar. But yeah, despite the crash with Corona, the subsequent recovery was even stronger. Because, yeah, the maximum we hit before the Corona crash was about up 5%. And we finished here up almost 16% odd. It's huge, guys. It's huge. Huge year, especially considering what happened. Let's go ahead and take a look at some commodities, touch base on that. So oil pretty much all year after Corona was stuck between 37 basically and 44. Those were the two numbers that oil seemed to just want to stick between. And then finally, after vaccine news and positive trials and things like that, oil finally was able to break out and has not looked back. It has definitely respected this 44 area. As you can see, we've had a come back and hit there and rebound off of it pretty solid, and oil is making a push. I'm a little surprised that it is as strong as it is right now, considering there is not widespread distribution of the vaccine, despite, cases rising, despite more and more, fatalities. Oil continues to roll. And I think that's a bit of an anticipation move. I think that oil and things of that nature are really looking at what's going on and expecting things to start getting better. We'll see if that continues or not. But something that did take a bit of a beating on Friday would be gold. And there was no huge specific catalyst that I'm aware of that pushed gold down this hard, except for people exiting their positions. From what I understand, a lot of institutional traders are letting go of their gold positions and getting into higher volatility things, such as I've heard there's a lot of people that are going into Bitcoin. We can take a look at that if you want, because it's going parabolic. There are a lot of people moving into higher volatility securities, such as things like Tesla, things like that. These tech companies that are just going absolutely bonkers right now. That's where they're going. Let's take like I said, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Coinbase sounds good. Let's look at that. 40,000, guys. 40,000. Absolutely nuts. From when we hit the top over here near 14, now at $40,000 per coin. Paul made a really good mention in the guidance section about cryptocurrency. Please be incredibly careful. If you are going to get into cryptocurrency, be incredibly careful. Looking at this chart, I would not get in Bitcoin right now. I don't think so, Hadi. I don't think so. At least not for now. Now, long term, will, if Bitcoin continues to be relevant, will it continue to go towards the upside? I think there is higher upside potential long term. Right now, on the shorter term time frame, this is nothing short of a parabolic move. Typically, parabolic moves you do not see continue like this indefinitely. It's gonna pull back at some point. And the thing with crypto that you have to remember, there is no regulation and there are no set trading hours. You'll notice that, this is still rolling here. This clock is still rolling. Crypto's traded 24/7, guys. So there are no market hours for cryptocurrency because every hour is market hour for cryptocurrency. If you've made profit in your crypto, consider taking it out. If you want to keep holding, understand what you're risking. And if you're not okay with it, then it's time to take profit. I want everybody to be incredibly careful like this. You will never see a pattern like this in the stock market where we tell you to buy in this position. If you're not willing to do it with stocks, ETFs, different things like that, why would you do it with cryptocurrency? Something that has literally no regulation. It is the Wild West. There's been instances where it's been manipulated in the past. Be incredibly careful. I'm not saying that you can't make money on it. You absolutely can. By comparison, you can make money off of pump and dumps. You can also lose your frickin' shirt too. So please be incredibly careful. I know some people were asking about Tesla in the chat. I mean, just crazy. We're almost back up to the $1,000 mark again on Tesla. Last time they got there, they split. That was over here in this area. So Tesla going parabolic as well. So I would not recommend buying here. My best friend and I had a discussion about this. I know Riz has talked about it, about the valuation of the stock, that is currently way overvalued. It's up there. But here's the thing, guys. You have to remember, when there's hype behind it, when people are behaving irrationally about it, it doesn't matter how good or how bad the fundamentals of the company are. When the herd says buy, 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 it's going up. You could sit there and tell the herd, hey, fundamentally, this stock is not in good shape. The herd don't care because the herd is going. The stampede is on. And if you wouldn't stand in front of a stampede of cattle, I don't think you should stand in front of this. I can't recommend shorting this right now, but I also can't recommend taking it long either. Because if it goes bonkers, right? If we push up to 950 on Monday or something like that, and you take it short at the open, you're sitting there going, Chris, I thought you said it was overvalued. Yeah, it is. It is overvalued. But everybody else don't care. So be incredibly careful when you're looking at parabolic movers like this. Sometimes they work. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you can make a ridiculous amount of money by playing the other side, or sometimes you can make it by following the herd and sticking with it. It's so incredibly volatile, guys. You've got to be careful with stuff like this. With Bitcoin, Tesla, things of that nature, it is incredibly, incredibly dicey. One thing I wanted to bring your attention to is we have a brand new channel on the Discord. The Discord channel for Riz International, and it is the Naked Short Options Trading. This has to do with writing options. So please understand that you have to meet certain requirements in your account to do this, meaning you have to have enough money to cover what you are selling. And if you get assigned, guess what? Someone's taking delivery. So if your account is not at the level where you can, one, take on that risk, or, two, don't have that amount of capital, please ignore the alerts in that section for now. You can continue to watch them, to learn from them, to see what Riz is looking at and why he's taking what he's taking. However, just understand that you're not going to be able to take part in that, and understand that what he is doing there is he is writing an options contract. Okay, so similar to when you short a stock, writing an options contract is basically like selling the contract, and then you buy it back at a lower price, meaning you've made money, just like if you shorted it, or the other option is you let it expire. Now, if your options contract expires worthless, then you get to keep the premium. So what is the premium? The premium is the price times 100. It is the portion of the contract that says, okay, I will sell you, this many shares of whatever he's working on. Let's look at the most recent one, right? Okay. So the most recent one was PLTR. Help if we could type. Well done. A rough night, guys. Rough night. So this one, strike price is $22. So this is a put option. So Riz is wanting this to stay above 22, basically. So that if this expires on the 15th, which is here just in a couple days, if it expires worthless, he will make $16, but he will make it out of nowhere. The price he sold it at was 16 cents per contract, or per share, meaning that one options contract is 100 shares. And so he sold that at 16 cents. If the price goes below 22, he could be liable to handle delivery, meaning that he would have to, have those shares available to, be allow them, or basically the put option says that, okay, we will sell at this price. So understand the risk that comes into play when writing options contracts. and understand the potential rewards. If you get very good at it, the way that Riz is, you can basically make money show up out of nowhere. Because as Riz likes to refer to it as printing money, you collect the premiums. The premium is the price times 100 that you sell it for. And you can just make money show up out of nowhere. It's pretty cool. You didn't have to buy the stock. You didn't have to hold it. But understand the difference between selling, naked puts or naked calls, or the opposite of that would be to be selling covered puts or covered calls, meaning that you have the security available to handle delivery. In this case, Riz does not hold 100 shares of PLTR. It's one of those things where the risk is there. If you get assigned, you have to make good on the contract. But however, if the contract expires worthless, you get free money. So if you do have the money in your the capital in your account, and you have not taken the options trading class, please consider doing so before you start writing options. This is something that you can lose your shirt on incredibly quickly if you don't do it correctly. And the options class is going to help you with that. It's going to help you with all of Riz's option strategies. So please, if you have the money to do that in your account, you definitely have the money to be able to afford this class. Take a small withdrawal out of your trading account and take the options trading class, guys. It is worth it if you want to do this sort of thing. So just wanted to bring your attention to that new channel in the Discord so that you were aware what it is, why it's there. And if you missed it, Riz had actually put a survey up asking how many people could take these options rights. Not a lot of people could, but everyone said that they wanted to keep seeing it. I think that it's probably a wise decision by everyone, because you can learn. Even if you can't necessarily take that specific trade, you can't write that options contract, you can learn. You can learn what Riz is doing. And so I have to applaud everybody who said, yes, we want to keep seeing it, because that just adds another tool to your toolbox. So I just want to say well done, everybody who participated in the survey and was, straight up about it. All right, we've taken a couple trades since we talked last. And some of them we've gotten in and out of, and others we are still holding. Give me just a second here. Okay, Walmart, aka China Mart. One of the most fundamentally sound brick and mortar stores in the United States. In long on Walmart on the 28th of December at $144.06. Currently up about $2.50 per share from our entry point. Profit target one is $147.25. Did we make it? Yes, we did. We did make it here on the 6th. So if you got in on this trade, congratulations. That one worked out pretty darn well. Profit target two at $151.90. I think that, this one can definitely hold its own, even if things at times it rolls over. This is a really nice technical setup, guys. Really nice. And obviously you could have taken profit already. I see a lot of people took that. So good job, everybody who's in Walmart. If you're still holding, you're fine. You're in an amazingly, fundamentally strong company that it's not going anywhere, guys. I promise you it's not going anywhere. LMT, Lockheed Martin. This one, not so hot. In Lockheed, at 357.25. This one did not quite work out. It's one of those things where it just did not quite work out the way we wanted. And sadly, we are currently below stop loss. So this one, you got to chalk up to sometimes you just don't get it right. And we were hoping that the 350 level would hold. It did not. And so, yeah, that one not in the best spot. AYX, if I recall, Riz said that he exited his AYX position in long at 111.75. This one has gone very, very nicely. And profit target one already hit there, 116.10. We're past that at this point. We got really, really close to profit target two at 122.50. Didn't quite make it. If memory serves, let me look here in the guidance section real quick, because I could have sworn that Riz got out of this very recently. Yes, yesterday at about 10:30, Riz exited this one. Probably a very good choice. So yeah, that one worked out really, really well. Just looking here to see if he's provided guidance on Lockheed. It's one of those things. Sadly, it just didn't work out. But no, I'm not seeing anything nearby. I could dig a little farther, but we'll hold on that. All right, GSK, GlaxoSmithKline. In long 38.37, currently sitting at break even. We got in on the 6th, so just a couple days ago. We're looking at some nice momentum here going in, but sadly, we haven't seen. We haven't seen a lot of continuation here on GSK. You'll notice that GSK is not a huge mover. You might go, Chris, look back in March. Okay, sure. Let's bring it in here a little bit closer on the daily and see what it's actually doing. Everything was moving big in March, guys, with coronavirus. So really nice momentum moving into this. I think we're just consolidating a little bit here, and I don't see any problem with GSK continuing towards the upside. Please be aware if you're going to hold this for a little bit, earnings are on the 3rd of February. So keep an eye on that. Definitely a very good pharma company, as Riz mentioned. So he also said that he doesn't mind carrying this one longer term. So please be aware of that. If you are holding this, it is something that you can hold a bit longer. REGN. This stock and I have history. I'm not a fan of REGN. We'll just put it that way. I had some of my worst day trading losses ever were with this security. So for me personally, this is on the do not trade list, but that's me. And that was day trading. This is different. This is swing trading. So in long on REGN at 498.42. This was yesterday. So we don't have a whole lot of movement here. We got in right before the close, about half an hour. Has been really fading pretty hard, honestly. Here since about July, it's been nothing but downside, and we are starting to bounce here. This is a very defined bounce point that we've seen it hit before. This 468 area had a hit right about here, and it went the other direction. Furthermore, we came close to it right here. And so there's definitely some support there at 468. So if this thing continues to go, we should be pretty good. And I have to agree with Riz that even though it's a good company, you don't want to bag hold this. I agree 100%. Perhaps I'm biased because of my previous history with this security, but it is what it is. Sorry, I missed a question. We always do questions at the end, which is right now. But let me look at this question. Okay, quick question. When you get the chance regarding Bitcoin, is it possible that the run-up in hype is intentional and is an institutionalized pump and dump, essentially to do things like that happen? So the reason for the run-up in Bitcoin right now is there are institutional traders that are getting in, and they are publicly saying that they are getting in. And so this creates a lot of hype surrounding it. It's like, oh, these institutional traders are getting in. I'm going to get in too, because if they're saying it's good, it must be good. So I'm going to get in. It's going to be awesome. Could it be a pump and dump? With Bitcoin, I'm more inclined to say no. And let's look at a different one this time. Let's look at Bitfinex. All of these will be fairly similar, guys, but there is going to be broker-to-broker variation in the price of Bitcoin, and all of the cryptocurrencies, actually. So just be aware of that. It's gone parabolic, but I'm not ready to call it a pump and dump. A pump and dump, it typically is obviously something that you hear about more in the stock market with penny stocks and things like that. I don't feel comfortable calling Bitcoin a pump and dump. I think it's bloated right now. I think it's overdone, and RSI would suggest that I'm correct on that. RSI currently sitting here at about 88.5, whereas the midpoint, the top level is 70. Typically with RSI. So, I mean, it's suggesting that it's considerably overbought. Now, for those of my people here who have taken the stocks masterclass, you'll remember that Riz often will mention that stocks can, get into the overbought territory and remain in overbought territory for some time. This is true for crypto as well. And I think that these traditional indicators that I have, on here are not going to be as useful when dealing with crypto because it's completely unregulated. I almost caught myself there. I said, there's probably not algorithms trading cryptocurrency. No, we all know that that's happening. But I will say that your traditional indicators when it comes to crypto may or may not be the best thing to go off of. So am I here to say that it's an institutionalized pump and dump? I don't think so. I think a lot of people think of it as, one, a vector to make money, which they're not wrong that it's one way to do that. But also people have this thought that it's going to be the next currency, that there will be, a big change from, paper money to cryptocurrency. And people are trying to get in now. Is that possible? I suppose it's possible. Anything is possible for the most part. I mean, let's be honest. I don't think a lot of us were sitting around on January 6th thinking that people were going to, go into the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. However, if I told you in the morning, do you think it's possible? Of course it's possible. Of course, a lot of other things could happen too. But, with that going on, I think there's just a lot of hype surrounding Bitcoin right now. Similarly to Tesla, it is driven by hype, by news, by catalysts like that. And as I said earlier, it's completely unregulated, guys. It's the Wild West of trading at this point. There are no rules. It's just you and the crypto, and that's all there is to it. And let me try and think how I can phrase this correctly. With your other smaller coins, you can see a lot more manipulation. I'll put it that way. You could have somebody who, intentionally crashes the price by selling huge positions. I remember early on, there was a huge crash in Bitcoin when someone put out a market order for something along the lines of, what was it? It was something like 1,000 Bitcoins or something like that. It was ridiculous. And the price just crashed. And there are no circuit breaker halts. Okay, not now. I will call back later. There are no safeguards in place when it comes to crypto. And that's why right now it's incredibly dangerous because it's gone up so much, so fast and so hard that a lot of people stand to lose their shirts at this point if it goes south. So please be very, very careful is all I'm going to say. Is it possible that it's a pump and dump? I don't think so. Based on the price, usually with pump and dumps, you need people buying ridiculous amounts. And with it being 40,000, I don't think you can pull that off. At least not the average investor such as ourselves. I don't think most of us can dump that much cash into, buying full Bitcoins here and there. Just a second, let me text this person who just called me. What else you guys got? What do you want to talk about? It's definitely your choice, Larry. You've obviously made a fantastic return on your $200 at this point. I honestly, looking at this chart pattern, I'd say it's probably a good time to go ahead and take some money. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody wished that they could have done 20K back when Bitcoin was like $10 a coin, right? Or back when the whole mining thing was brand freaking new and you could buy like a mining machine for, $500. And, you could have mined out, fractional parts of a Bitcoin and you'd be in good shape. But just so you guys are aware, .gov is well aware of cryptocurrency. And as it has been decentralized and, not really regulated right now, from what I'm seeing about tax documents and things like that, pretty soon you may be facing taxes for your profits used in cryptocurrency. So just be aware of that. Keep good records of your purchases and your sales so that you have them in case something like that comes down. I have a friend who works in the tax world, and he sent me the new versions of taxes for 2020, here, at least here in the United States. I can't comment for the rest around the world. But there is a question on there whether you traded electronic currency and made money on it. So even though there is not currently taxes on things like that, it may be coming in the future. So just all I'm saying, guys, keep good records for yourself. What do I think about CRSR? Well, let's take a look. Corsair Gaming. For a swing trade into next quarter, coming out of 2020, they have benefited from lockdowns and quarantine, etc. They also beat third quarter earnings too. Well, obviously, we have a fairly recent IPO here with Corsair. Full disclosure, I am an absolute Corsair fanboy. I have a mouse. I have a keyboard. It is probably the best keyboard I have ever owned, and I highly recommend it. It is one of their top-end keyboards. I type quite a bit for a living, so I am totally behind this. Now, looking at this chart, what do I think on this for a long? Little dicey. Got to be careful with this one, guys, because nice solid downtrend here. I'm not seeing, any signs of recovery yet, even though the market is pushing up. This is, a little bit indecisive here, and we don't have a whole lot of data to go off of. Do I like Corsair? Absolutely. I love their stuff. Not only do I have their keyboard and their mouse, I have their fans in my computer. I also have their RAM in my computer. And yes, it's all the RGB stuff because, ooh, pretty colors. We got to love that. Here, actually, guys, give me a moment. There you go. There's the inside of Chris's PC. All the pretty fans. You can see the Corsair fans, the RAM. There's the Corsair fan in the back. Oh, it's so awesome. Okay. There you go. Right? No, I built this PC. It's very nice. So I definitely like the company in general. I love their products. But as far as taking this long, this is a tough one. I would be very careful with it. If you like it long term, I know you said you were looking for about a quarter. I honestly don't have a whole lot of data to go off of, and I haven't looked at the fundamentals at all. So it's hard for me to make a judgment on that. I would just be really careful if you take it. Keep a tight stop on it if you do. Larry, I have heard so many people tell me that a similar story like that. You're not alone, brother, is what I'm saying. So for everybody in the replay, also sorry to people in the replay, you don't get to see my sexy computer because I'm not recording the AV pod here. But so Larry says he had a third of a coin back when it was like $600 in 2016 and 2017 from an online poker site, and he's like, "What the flip is a Bitcoin?" And he turned it into cash. I understand. Any thoughts on Databricks IPO? I have no idea what they do or who they are. So no, I don't have any thoughts on them. IPOs, guys, typically we don't trade IPOs unless we're very familiar with them. So please be very careful with IPOs. They can go crazy. I know a lot of people have strategies with IPOs to, turn a quick buck on it, but there are also people who get wrecked on IPOs. It's kind of a coin flip. As to how the market views that company and what they feel is a proper valuation. What are my thoughts on Curry and Curry W? I love Curry. Curiosity Stream. No, I'd like to do some digging on this. Looks terrible. Okay, so we've got ourselves another parabolic mover here. A decent run. This is a parabolic move, is what this is. So saying it's a decent run is kind of an understatement. Okay, so this is just a different ticker for the same thing. All right, well, let's just go to the original. I like that one better. There we go. Again, parabolic move. You got to be really careful. Honestly, it looks like it's starting to roll over here. This looks pretty weak to me. So I would be really careful on that one. Alibaba. Oh, it's the warrants. Yeah, you're right. It is the warrants. Yeah, this looks weak, guys. It really does. I think we've seen the big, but I could say that and it could gap up to here on Monday. So just be careful. I mean, if you're in it long and you've already made money, great. If not, I wouldn't take it long here. This is what we call extended. Like this is flipping extended. Okay, that's pretty bad. So it's a big gap between where it is now and the moving averages. So I didn't get in. But and Larry, sometimes these things happen. If you don't have time to, or you hear about it in a news story and the move has already happened, oh well. Sometimes we miss the move, and that's okay. But the beautiful thing about the market is there are so many different opportunities every day for different securities, for different things. You can trade whatever you want. If you miss this one, oh well, no big deal. Next one, we're going to get it. So just don't worry about it. Don't chase. This is real. This is a huge chase if you take it here. Huge chase. And it can end really, really bad. Just be really careful. Okay, so Alibaba was the question. Is checking it out from a fundamental standpoint, looks pretty strong, has a nice PE ratio in relation to the rest of the industry. Seems like a bargain buy. Wondering what's my take on Alibaba and what does bag holding mean? Okay, two questions there. So let's look at Baba first. Baba taking a bit of a hit here lately. I mean, Alibaba's not going anywhere, guys. Okay, very, very, how would we describe this? I guess it's a what would be shipping, raw materials, if you want to call it that. They're not going anywhere, guys. There's one of the bigger companies in China, if not the biggest. I don't recall the numbers on that, but I mean, Alibaba is really big, and I know that Riz, given everything with coronavirus, has kind of shunned anything related to China at this point. So I don't think you'll see us trading it anytime soon in Elite. But, with coronavirus and things like that, understand that international shipping is, very difficult right now. It makes life more difficult for companies like this who, basically send things overseas. Now, I will say that shipping is getting better. International travel has, resumed for the most part, depending on where in the world you're going, so long as it's not the UK. Yeah, I mean, Alibaba is going to be in good shape. I mean, fundamentally, it's pretty solid. They're definitely making money. You look at the earnings here, and all of these earnings are positive. Even back post-corona, they were still positive on their earnings. Of course, they missed. Who's surprised about that? But, really, really solid, earnings. As mentioned, PE ratio and things like that are very good compared to other things in, their sector. But, if you think it's a bargain here, then do take it. I would not have any problem holding Alibaba longer term. So if you feel comfortable taking it long here, go for it, man. Just be careful. The 200 simple moving average here, that is a big area of support and resistance. But otherwise, yeah, I think you could go ahead and take it. I mean, it isn't a bit of a downtrend here, but this could be the time to get in at a bargain. So I would definitely go ahead and take a look at it. Given the market making new highs All major indexes seem to be moving up over daily, weekly, and monthly timeframes. Do you recommend being almost completely invested, e.g., holding little to no cash? Happy New Year and thanks. That is a loaded question, Mike. That is a very loaded question. Even Riz is not completely vested yet. So that in and of itself should give you pause to, taking that strategy. Yes, the S&P 500 is going nuts. And I think, some of that is due to some of the, let's just say, how's the right way to phrase this without being political? Well, people are just kind of relaxed that all of this is coming to an end. And whether you are happy with that or not, it has no relevance. Stability in the outcome. There we go. That is an excellent way to put it, Aaron. Thank you for that. I think that the market, at least when it comes to, people, investors and mom and pop investors and institutional investors and traders and things like that, they value stability and directionality. And right now we are seeing some pretty solid directionality in the market. Whereas, throughout last year, it was incredibly difficult to get a bead sometimes on what the market wanted to do. So just be careful with going all in. I think going all in anytime is a little dangerous. And by a little dangerous, I mean a lot dangerous. And also keeping some capital available is never necessarily a bad thing. It can allow you to average up, average down, whatever averaging direction you need to do to make the best move. If you are doing a type of accumulation trade where you are buying the dips and waiting for a security to recover, you can't do that if you're completely invested. So I think keeping some cash available is always a wise thing to do, because let's just say let's look at one here. Let's say Walmart, for example. What if Walmart gaps down to 140 tomorrow, or like 130 or something like that, something crazy, and we're like, okay, yeah, they took a hit, right? But if we're still in this, we're waiting for the bigger move. We're like, okay, we're comfortable holding this. That is an excellent time to average down. So you can deploy some of that capital to reduce your average and make your overall average price better, so that when it does recover, because you have mental fortitude when it comes to this, you understand it's a fundamentally solid company, they're not going anywhere, and this is just a temporary price fluctuation, you can capitalize on that. So it's one of those things where your thesis is right, but your timing is wrong. But if you don't have capital to deploy to help you, make that trade even more successful longer term, it's a missed opportunity as well. So I would never say being almost completely invested in the market is a good idea. I think you should always hold some cash in your account to be able to deploy for different opportunities or to average in one direction or the other. Alipay banned in the U.S. Jack Ma apparently missing, and I think facing big penalties in China. Okay, thank you for doing that research, Liam. I appreciate it. I haven't been watching Alibaba recently, so maybe I would be careful on that Baba play. Maybe let's be careful about that one. Hey, no problem, Mike. That's what we're here for. How do I feel about NIO coming into next week after NIO day today? Well, I don't think anything happened in NIO today because there was no trading today. I'm assuming you mean Friday. Yeah, this thing's going nuts, isn't it? Well, we're making new all-time highs on this thing. I know this is something that we've traded in the past, or at least talked about. I would be incredibly careful taking it long here. I don't know the catalyst. Do you know why it's going up like this? Oh, they released a new sedan. Competitor to the A7. Wow, they're going after Audi, huh? Well, batteries next level. Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, with President-elect Biden's saying that he's going to be pushing for more, green sources of energy, I think that most of us are pretty well understanding that internal combustion engines are at some point, probably in our lifetime, going to be a thing of the past. Just like the steam engine of the Wild West, you don't see too many, steamboats out on the river anymore, out on the mighty Mississippi. I think at some point in the future, we will see most, if not all, cars out on the road will be electric. I think that that is the direction that the world wants to go. Whether that is right or wrong is your own personal decision. I'm not going to make a statement on that. But I think you will see some of these companies who do this type of thing, such as Tesla, such as NIO, and things like that, will see some really large growth in anticipation of that future world. And whether that is right or wrong is a good question, but obviously people are getting excited about it and they really like it. So if you think that this will hold momentum, if you believe in the company, you believe in what they're doing, you can definitely take it here. Just understand the risk. Stay within your risk management. And when it's moved like this and it's already gapped and we're chasing it, at that point, I would recommend reducing your sizing, because that will, one, decrease your risk. It'll decrease your exposure in case this thing tanks. If you just, let's say, for example, you're like, F it, I'm putting a market order in tomorrow at the market open. I'm getting in this thing long. I don't care what the price is. And, it does one of these. Something like that. You'll be sitting here crying saying, but Chris, you said it's the wave of the future on webinar and that it would be fine. No, understand your risk management, guys. That's the biggest thing. When chasing a mover like this, understand what your risk is and what you're willing to do. How long are you willing to hold? How much pain are you willing to go through on it? So just be aware of that. And you can definitely take it long here. I'm not saying you can't, but just be aware of what you're putting in at risk. Thoughts on RSG? We'll do this one and then we'll call it a night. Republic Services. Very, very nice bounce here. We are kind of running into some resistance here around the 97.50 area that it's having some problems with. So yeah, right about in this area here. And, we can see that this has been a problem in the past. I mean, look at this. I mean, holy cow, what happened here? It looks like earnings is what happened here. Or post earnings. When was this? This was on the 5th. Was this the 6th? Yes, it was. So this is the day after earnings. Huge move up and then a pull back down. This area here around the 97.50 mark seems to be a big area of support and resistance for Republic Services. So my thoughts, if it can push over this and hold over it, then you are good for a long. Very, very nice bounce here down around the 93 area, which also seems to have some technical significance. Right about there. And so the question is does it stay within the channel or do we have a breach? So if it breaches the channel to the upside, you should see more upside potential in this. However, if it stays within the channel, obviously it's coming back down. If it doesn't give two flips about the channel, it can just consolidate. It can ride the moving averages towards the upside. But for me personally, looking at the pattern and looking how it's behaved recently, I would put a lot more stock in this 97.50 area than I would 93.20-ish because we've seen clean moves through it. Here, it's just there are a couple areas where it has hit and bounced. So if you see a breach over 97.50 and it holds, then you should be good. NIO has delivery data coming up soon. Watch out. Okay. Absolutely keep an eye on that. for sure. If you're looking to get in, no problem, Wyatt, no problem. So I will first off, we'll go ahead and we'll end the webinar here. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. Absolutely amazing attendance tonight. Fantastic questions, by the way. Really appreciate everybody coming out, and I hope that you keep coming out because we do this every week for the most part, guys. There are a couple weeks where we have to cancel or where, we understand that there's not going to be any volume in the market, aka after Christmas, and not much is going to be happening. So we will go ahead and just let everybody have the weekend and the holiday to themselves. But guys, keep coming out. This type of insight is what you want from your elite membership. This is part of the reason why you're in this. I try to be informative and definitely entertaining. I want you guys to enjoy it. I don't want to be sitting here like, well, this stock has and these different indicators that you've never heard of before and you'll never hear of again. And for this reason and this reason alone, you should do this. That's boring, guys. So I want you guys to enjoy it at least a little bit coming out to webinar. I try and make it interesting for you. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So everybody have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And as always, we will see you in Discord on Monday.